The Jets, I think, are just simply the most obvious. They went all in on this OKC Thunder approach of just acquire as many picks as possible, see what you can do in terms of building up youth and trying to round things out in that regard. They just currently do not have anything that they can turn to and say we can be immediately competitive. Right. They don't. They have the advantage of the trades that they made of trying to use that draft capital to then move up if required. It kind of would suck if you traded away star players to get first-round picks and then have to waste those future first-round picks of just getting into position to draft a guy. It'd probably be best to pray and hope that you don't need to do that, but they're the most equipped capably of accomplishing it.
I think I have a take that you're going to hate. Are you ready for this take? So the New York Jets have 2 first-round picks in 2026, and they have 3 first-round selections in 2027, which was netted by the combination of Sauce Gardner and Quinton Williams trades, okay? I don't think I would be crazy aggressive in this draft for a quarterback. I think I would be aggressive if the price point was correct, but I don't think I would get desperate this year. And that is no disrespect to the quarterbacks in this class. I think I like Dante Moore a lot. I love the floor, of Fernando Mendoza, but I don't love the ceiling necessarily, Joe. I don't love the ceiling of Fernando Mendoza. I think Fernando Mendoza is Matt Ryan, Jared Goff, somewhere in that realm, and maybe not even Matt Ryan. Probably more in like the Jared Goff.
I mean, those are good.
Well, Matt Ryan was a very good quarterback. My point is that is he a guy that you're going to mortgage multiple first-round picks to go up and get to elevate your roster? I'm not really sure. I think. Well, but
the problem is you've been a team that has failed comically at trying to find a quarterback. It's like, are we just going to really keep punting on this again?
I don't think you punt.
You got to take swings. To try and find someone.
I guess my question is Fernando Mendoza a good enough quarterback for me to say I'm going to mortgage 3 first-round picks, including whatever their top 10 pick ends up being, to go up and get Fernando Mendoza at number 1? Is he a good enough quarterback for that? Is the question.
I think that. Obviously, it's like a little bit more of a complicated question and a larger one to debate. He's not a Andrew Luck type of a prospect that you need to oh my God, I need to go and get this kid. Like we have to. This will be franchise altering. Right. But I think if you ask a Jets fan, hey, would you like to have Jared Goff as your starting quarterback? They would probably say, yes, I would love to have somebody who's steady and reliable. That doesn't end up completely stinking. I think that they would like to have somebody that they could turn to and know is not going to. I know that he just played really poorly against the Vikings recently, but I feel like they'd much rather have something that is not a bottom 10 quarterback in the league. So to not have addressed this for this long, are you just punting on expecting to not compete for the next 2 years is essentially what if you wait to draft a quarterback in 2027, you're not going to be competitive in 2027. That then means you're not going to be a competitive team until 2028.
It's so circumstantial, and it's about your perspective on Fernando Mendoza. I think that's what it comes down to, Joe, because my thought process is this, okay? If the New York Jets see Fernando Mendoza, I'm just going to use him as an example. We can even throw Dante Moore into the conversation because we don't know exactly who's going to be QB1 in this class when all is said and done. If you look at either one of those kids and say that's a franchise-altering quarterback, or that's a guy that can do it for us, right? He's a train car type of quarterback and not a guy that's just going to kind of bring up he's not going to be pulled along. He's going to do the pulling, right? Mm-hmm. I think that I would be okay with taking that swing, obviously, right? Because if you think he's the guy, that's great. I'm saying when I look at Fernando Mendoza, I'm just going to keep using him as an example. I look at him and say, I think when things are really good around him or just good around him, I think he can make good better, right? I think that he can make bad better. I think he can make things better, but I do also question of, you remember when the Rams traded up to number 1 many moons ago to draft Jared Goff? What happened there? They weren't a good enough roster to support him, and he fails, right? And even though...
Yeah, but they went to a Super Bowl not long after.
And then what did they do as soon as they won the Super Bowl? A year after they won the Super Bowl, they jettisoned him and said, we need an actual quarterback that can actually win a Super Bowl. We need one that can win a Super Bowl.
Well, but then I would argue, though, that they wouldn't have been able to make the trade for Matthew Stafford had they not had a solid enough quarterback to include in that trade.
Sure, but if I trade up 2 to 3 first round,
having Jared Goff effectively won them a Super Bowl and has put them in this position to win a Super Bowl. So, no, that's not an insane thing. He was good enough for them with the really good roster that they had to go to the Super Bowl when they lost to the Patriots
and to lose.
And then having him be solid enough was enough for him to be included in that trade package to go and get Matthew Stafford. So you need to have something before you can really take the full leap to the top.
So you want me to trade 2 to 3 first round picks to get a guy that's a trade bait eventually of a quarterback? That's what you're telling me right now. That's the example you just.
Well, is that not literally what the Rams did? Is that not literally what they traded up to go and get Jared Goff?
That wasn't their ideology when they drafted Jared Goff. They didn't say, you know what, if he's not good in a couple years, but he's okay enough, we're going to trade offload him. Like that was.
I understand that, but without the existence of Jared Goff and having gotten him, you would not have been on this trajectory of being one of the most competitive teams in the NFL over the last decade.
Speculation.
You wouldn't be as good as you are.
Speculation. It's just speculation.
I don't know who else you're plugging in at quarterback.
Anyway, I think I will conclude it by saying this, Joe. I'm not 100% sure that the Jets got these 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years to potentially be aggressive necessarily for Mendoza or Moore. Is it possible? Yes. If they do it, well, I'll even phrase it like this. If they do it, I won't say a word against it. If they think he's the guy, I will have an open mind and I will sit back and I will watch what happens. But I'm just not sure if either one of those guys is a player that I, in a vacuum, would like to trade 3 first-round picks to go up and get. Because it's probably what you're going to have to do if you're the Jets.